Peace be upon you. Today's story is about the #1 wanted fugitive in India. His name was Om Prakash, or Basha for short. This man was one of the most ruthless criminals pursued by the police in the state of Haryana, northern India. He drove them completely insane. There wasn't a crime committed without Prakash being behind it. Robbery, assault, armed carjacking, kidnapping for ransom, you name it. The security forces tried to ambush him countless times, but every single time he vanished into thin air. After a while, Prakash decided to stop committing crimes inside the state. Instead, he set up camp right outside the state borders, waiting on highways to ambush travelers. His sole business became stalking travelers, whether they were in cars or on motorcycles. He would rob them and assault the women, but he had one rule: he didn't kill. Part 2. The Fatal Highway Ambush. However, in 1992, everything changed. While he was laying in ambush on the main highway outside the state, a lone man passed by riding a motorcycle. Prakash was not alone. He had his accomplice, a man named Kumar. As the motorcyclist drew closer, they jumped out of the shadows, brandishing thick wooden clubs, and blocked the middle of the road. They shouted, "Hand over everything you have." The poor traveler was carrying a bag packed with cash. He had just sold all his livestock and cleared out his assets in Haryana, and was traveling to another state, likely to buy a house or a farm. By cruel twist of fate, he fell right into Prakash's hands. This money was everything the man owned in the world. If he lost it, his life was over. The man desperately clung to the bag, while Prakash violently tried to yank it away. The man began crying and screaming, "Please, for the love of God, leave it!" Prakash started beating him mercilessly. The man's desperate screams carried over to a nearby village close to the highway. The wailing and shouting echoed through the night air. Hearing the screams, the villagers started rushing toward the sound. Prakash felt them approaching. Realizing the man's shouting was going to expose them, he panicked. He pulled out a knife and stabbed the man repeatedly until he silenced him forever. Part 3. The Great Escape and Betrayal. Prakash grabbed the cash, jumped on the motorcycle, and was about to bolt. Just then, the villagers burst onto the scene. It was exactly like a scene out of a Bollywood movie. Villagers running, everyone holding sticks, shouting and cursing. Terrified, Prakash started the bike and yelled at Kumar, "Jump on, hurry!" Kumar jumped on in sheer panic, but the weight caused the motorcycle to crash to the ground. The villagers were closing in fast. Seeing this, Prakash abandoned everything: the bike, the money, and his partner. He took off running and hid deep in the dense trees. The villagers managed to capture Kumar. Why couldn't Kumar escape? Because the idiot lacked experience. When he got up from the ground, instead of running for his life, he tried to grab the bag of stolen money. Prakash only cared about his own survival. He knew that if he went to prison, he'd face dozens of old cases and would rot there until he died. So he saved his own skin, while Kumar's greed got him caught. Part 4. The Rat and the Secret Family. Kumar was hauled into interrogation, and he became the ultimate witness against Prakash. He spilled everything. He exposed past crimes, reported cases of victims who were too afraid to go to the police, and named names. He completely filled Prakash's file. Then he dropped a bombshell. Prakash is actually married with children. They live in a specific village, but no one knows who they are because they don't have identification documents. You will never find them without me, because Kumar sang like a canary and helped them pin countless unsolved crimes on Prakash. The court reduced his sentence to just 8 years. He also confirmed that Prakash was the one who stabbed the traveler. Now, the hunt was on. The police tracked down Prakash's family and finally secured a photograph of him. They published it everywhere, but Prakash had completely dissolved like salt in water. He had fled the state entirely and moved to the neighboring state of Uttar Pradesh, about 200 kilometers away. Part 5. Enlisting in the army. When he arrived in Uttar Pradesh, he sorted his life out. He managed to acquire high-quality forged identification documents, changed his name, and even altered his appearance. But here is the shocker. His very first job was joining the Indian Army Signal Corps. Prakash was a certified madman. He figured, keep your enemies close. They are looking for me everywhere. So if I become part of the system, they will never suspect me. It worked flawlessly. He applied with his forged IDs, was hired as an army truck driver, wore his military uniform proudly, and absolutely no one suspected a thing. He lived in this new state, got married again, and had more children. He stayed in the army for about 4 or 5 years until he got bored. An army salary was peanuts to him, especially since he used to make fortunes from robberies. So he quietly went back to committing light crimes on the side, thefts and burglaries. This naturally affected his attendance. He kept skipping duty, and eventually the army discharged him. Part 6. From the captain to Bollywood stardom. Now he needed a legitimate front to explain his massive wealth to his neighbors. He took his stolen cash and opened a photography studio, naming it Fuji Om, the military captain's studio. Everyone in the area knew him as a former military man, so the studio became incredibly popular. He hired staff, but in reality the studio was just a decorative cover for his shady criminal operations. Through his photography business and selling film, he crossed paths with a traveling musical troupe. Since Prakash actually possessed a talent for singing and playing instruments, he saw a golden opportunity. These musical troupes traveled legally from state to state with official permits and invitations. Prakash wanted a perfect excuse to travel across state lines without raising suspicion. If anyone asked what he was doing there, he could just say, "I'm with the band." He joined them, traveling from town to town. By day, he was a musician, but by night he would slip away from the troupe to execute high-end burglaries. He targeted the wealthy and influential. If anyone resisted him inside their homes, he would beat or kill them, and on his way out, he would often burn the house down. He was a high-level monster. He did this for years. His new wife genuinely believed the musical troupe was pouring in legitimate riches. They built an absolute empire. He bought farms, houses, and had a whole entourage. Eventually, he realized people might get suspicious of how a simple musician accumulated more wealth than the veteran band leaders. Fearing exposure, he decided he needed an even bigger, more public cover. Acting. He entered the local film industry and found staggering success. Well, acting requires a con artist who can masterfully impersonate different characters, and he was a pro. Under his fake name, he starred in 28 movies. All of them were successful, and he often landed powerful roles playing village chiefs, police officers, or, ironically, hardened criminals. Whenever he played a criminal or a cop, he acted with chilling realism. He became a genuine local celebrity, amassing a fortune from both showbiz and his hidden nighttime robberies, which he never stopped. For 28 years, nobody knew that this beloved actor was a fugitive. He was too famous for anyone to dare question him. Part 7. The $315 Bounty and the Sharp Journalist. In the year 2020, the Haryana State Police decided to audit all their old cold cases. They compiled a list of the top 10 most wanted fugitives who had vanished, suspected to have died, committed suicide, or fled the country. Number 1 on that list was Om Prakash. They presented the file to the Home Minister, explaining that this man had been missing for 28 years. The minister asked, "Where is he?" The police replied, "We don't know. We monitored his old family for years until we gave up. He hasn't left the country legally. We haven't found a corpse. Nothing." The minister approved a budget to publish the faces of these top fugitives in newspapers and on television. They placed a bounty on Prakash's head for 25,000 rupees. That is roughly $315. The only person who truly locked his eyes onto Prakash's photo was a seasoned crime journalist. Because this journalist was heavily plugged into both the crime beat and the local film industry, he looked at the old photo of Prakash and thought, "I know this face. I have seen this man somewhere." He sat in his newsroom for days, racking his brain. One evening, while watching a local movie, he saw a scene with a well-known actor playing a village chief. The journalist gasped, "Oh my God, it's him! It's the exact same face, just older." He started investigating the actor's background. The locals told him, "Oh, he's lived here for 28 years. But before that, we don't know where he came from." The journalist realized the actor had literally appeared out of thin air 28 years ago, matching the exact timeline of the fugitive's disappearance. Part 8. The Banana Peel Trap in the Fall. The journalist didn't go straight to the police. Instead, he decided to throw a banana peel and wait for them to slip on it. He published a entertainment/crime feature in a prominent newspaper, putting the old photo of the wanted criminal side by side with the photo of the famous actor. He wrote a cheeky article about the bizarre, uncanny resemblance between India's most wanted fugitive and the beloved local movie star. The police saw the article and were initially furious. They confronted the journalist. "How dare you defame a respected, well-known actor and cause panic in the security apparatus?" The journalist calmly replied, "Look at the facts. I just noticed a resemblance. By the way, that respected actor has only existed in your state for exactly 28 years. Where was he born? Where did he go to school? You are looking for a man who disappeared 28 years ago, and this actor is the exact same age." The police secretly began digging into the actor's official records. To their utter amazement, they found absolutely no history, no birth certificate, no school records, nothing. He legally existed only from his mid-20s onward. They raided his estate and arrested him. Prakash tried to play the outraged celebrity. "By what right are you arresting me? I am a famous actor." The police replied, "Just give us any official document from your childhood or teenage years." "Where did you study?" He panicked and stammered. I studied at such and such school in this state." They checked the school on the spot. The school had no record of him. They put the pressure on him during interrogation until he completely broke down and confessed. He admitted he was Om Prakash, and that his entire life was built on a masterfully forged identity. Part 9. The Ultimate Plot Twist. The craziest part of the story isn't just his arrest. It's what happened when his second wife found out. She completely lost her mind. She cried, "28 years I lived with this man. My children are grown adults, and it turns out he's a fugitive and has another secret family." Suddenly, a light bulb went off in her head. She remembered something and told the police. "Wait a minute. You said he was from Haryana?" They said yes. She screamed. "That absolute son of a gun. Every 2 or 3 years he would tell me, 'Let's take a family vacation to Haryana.' He would drive us to a specific village, and we would sit and eat with a family there. He told me, 'These are my dearest childhood friends. They raised me, and I owe them everything.' He used to give them massive amounts of money. Now I realize, those weren't his friends. That was his first wife and his original kids. Because his first family knew he was on the run from a murder charge, they kept his secret, gladly accepting the Hollywood money he brought them every few years, while his second wife thought it was just an act of charity." Om Prakash was formally sent to trial and sentenced to life imprisonment. And that is the end of our spectacular story. Goodbye, and peace be upon you.